Now, we should all know that sales is the absolute lifeblood to any business. If you can't make sales, you don't have customers, and without customers, you don't have any revenue. Now, sales is something that every business needs to be thinking about, needs to be refining their process. And if you have a sales team, it's well worth taking the time to think about the way that they're selling, the way that they're speaking with clients, and kind of what processes they're using, the way that clients are reacting, and really refining this process down to make your kind of conversion rate be the best it possibly can be. If you're a small business owner and you're doing the sales yourself, sales is probably not a word that you love. There's lots of negative connotations to the word. However, it is well worth nailing your sales skills so that you feel super confident when you are out pitching, when you're speaking to potential clients, when you're following up, when you're writing proposals. This is all sales, and it really, really matters to get this process, to get this techniques really nailed down so that you're feeling super confident and, of course, winning lots of new business. So there are lots of pitfalls to sales, and there are lots of kind of common mistakes that I see lots of teams make, lots of business owners make. And in this short video, I just want to run through 3 kind of quite typical common sales mistakes that I see everywhere, and for you to kind of think about whether that's something you're doing right now, and to just take stock of and maybe think about the way that you're doing it if you are a little bit guilty of one of them. Okay, so the top kind of sales mistake I see is around selling too early. Now, if you have ever been on the receiving end of this, you'll know how it feels. Perhaps you weren't properly listened to, the salesperson, you just felt like the salesperson wanted to make a quick sale. Perhaps you've been pushed towards a product or service that afterwards you thought, do you know what, that's not really me, that's not really what I need, that's not really what our business needs. Now, why do people do this? Well, often the intentions actually are very, very good, and it's not just, trying to hit a sales target or anything like that. Sales people and business owners are, most of the time really super passionate. We're really keen to help, and we want to show really, really quickly how our business can help to solve the problems that this potential client is facing. However, it is a very, very common mistake to kind of push ahead and start diagnosing and presenting solutions far too early. In order to present what you can do to help your client to solve the challenges that they're facing, you need to understand what they're going through. You need to understand the challenges that their business faces. You need to understand what they're looking for. You need to understand what ROI looks like for them. There's a lot of questions to be asking, and a lot of kind of not just information gathering, but trying to kind of get the context of what's going on, trying to understand how you might fit in with this, how your business might be able to help. So a common pitfall around selling too early is just to hold off from that process of talking about your business, talking about the solutions that you can offer, and just take plenty of time to let the client talk through what their pain points are, what they're going through right now, what their challenges are, who's involved in this decision, to really, really take stock of where they're at right now. So lots of listening, recommending a little bit later. The second sales mistake I see quite common, it's a little bit more with business owners themselves rather than sales teams, yet I do see this quite a lot in sales teams as well. And that's around the following up process. Now, you probably have a sales process at the moment that involves sending out a quote, sending out a proposal, holding a sales meeting, running a demo, getting together and just really kind of talking through what you can do for them. And you might hear things like, can you put that in a proposal for us? Can you send through some more details by email? Could you send through your quote? Something like that. And a common kind of pitfall I see is people just aren't following up with this. And it's something that we all need to do from time to time. I know this can feel quite hard. You don't want to be pushy. You don't want to, you don't want to kind of undo some of the good work that you've done, and you want to continue building trust. So it is quite a delicate line to walk, and you want to make sure you get that balance right. Dig out my video on following up if you want to read a bit more into how to actually do this. But if you're not regularly following up with clients, with calls, with emails, with proposals, I'd recommend setting out a system so that you are doing that. And just thinking about it from the client's perspective, they maybe have reached out to other suppliers. These people are probably really, really busy, like we all are. Things slip through the net. Sometimes emails don't even get received. And it's just worth following up and finding out where they're at right now. As I say, I've got a video with a 3-step process on that if it's something that you're struggling with right now. So if you're not got a system in place right now, it would be a good idea to sit down with your team, or if it's you that's managing your sales, is to think about what that process might look like, and using a CRM, using Notion, using a task-based kind of system, so that you don't, that you don't forget, that it doesn't slip through the net, and that you are following up in the best way possible. Okay, the third common sales mistake I see, which is the final one I want to run through in this quick video, is around the overwhelm in the choice. Now, if you are a business owner, or you are responsible for kind of shaping out some of the services that your business offers, it's really natural to want to make sure that you've got something for everybody, and that you've got different services, or you might have different packages, you might have kind of different ways of delivering the work that you want to with your clients. If you're selling a product, you might have, lots and lots of different options. And something that I see quite a lot is that people just feel very overwhelmed when they are sent a proposal with lots and lots of different choices. If your business is very technical, if it's kind of quite a nuanced service that you're offering, clients will often want to be guided by the salesperson, or guided by you as the business owner in terms of what they need. And then you might find they often turn to you for a recommendation. So then being presented with lots and lots of different options that might be quite hard to compare, quite hard to understand, can feel very confusing and very complicated. And we tend to just do, as people, we tend to do what the easiest thing is to do, which is just to not spend time on something. So you don't want to miss out on business just because you've offered out 3 or 4 different things, and they're difficult to compare, and they're difficult perhaps to understand. Now, at InkTop, we specialize in consultative sales training. We try to help our teams and our clients move away from a very transactional-based sales approach and into something much, much more consultative, which is around listening, asking the right questions, truly understanding what a client needs before making a recommendation. And if you manage to perfect the art of doing this, making this recommendation, putting forward your proposal, your solution, actually shouldn't feel too difficult. And I would even argue that if you're not quite sure what the client needs, and you are getting to that point where you're thinking, well, I'll offer this and I'll offer that and I'll put that in as well because we're not quite sure, that may mean that the kind of really consultative side of the sales process just hasn't quite clicked there, and you maybe aren't quite sure exactly what they need. So if this is something you're doing quite a lot, or you're sending out lots and lots of different options, I would suggest thinking about taking a more consultative approach to your sales, and trying to understand a little bit more about exactly what the client needs before putting forward your solution or proposal. I hope this helps, and please feel free to like and subscribe.